Hey, it's your boy Sean, and this is Supercars from the Hood. And on today's episode, I want to do something I haven't done in a while. Even though we do have a few of these videos, I want to make another top 5 list. And this time, I'm going to do top 5 affordable super sedans. And like I always say when I make these lists, do your due diligence. Make sure to do your research before you go out and buy one of these things, because I'm super lazy. I'm not gonna run around trying to figure out every little thing that's wrong with these cars, because it's not really a review. It's just the most affordable these versions of these cars out there, and as far as I could tell, the best ones out there. They all have their flaws, and some of them are going to be beat to death. So make sure you do your research, make sure you know what's going on with the cars. And with all that said, let's start the list. And number 5, we're going to start with probably the most affordable car on today's list, and the one that's actually no longer being made, and that's the Chevy SS. And yes, I know the SS is technically the Holden Commodore, but I'm not Australian. I live in America, so you can hold that. And you're probably answering, well, hold what, Sean? Hold what? Hold these. And I'm gonna say the rest, because YouTube will probably, put the kibosh on your boy. But like I said, the SS is probably the most affordable car, and it's kind of the sneaky super sedan that people don't really know much about. They sold about 12,000 of these through the whole lifetime of these cars, and they're actually pretty good and still look pretty modern, even though they stopped making it, I believe, like 2016. I want to say, I could be wrong. I have to double check, but yeah, the SS is the least most powerful car on today's list, with 415 horsepower, 415 pound-foot of torque, at a 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds, which is respectable for a car that almost weighed 4,000 pounds. And the biggest draw for this car is it has a LS engine. It has that Corvette engine, and so you really wouldn't have to LS swap this car. It already has a beast of a motor in it, and it's too bad they don't make this car anymore. If you really want one, I suggest you get into it now before some youths get into it and beat the hell out of it and abuse this car to the point that it will no longer be around anymore. Because I really do believe this car is really amazing and should have been a bigger deal than it actually was. Next, at number 4, we have the Dodge Charger Scat Pack. Now, I really thought about putting the Hellcat or the Hellkeezy, whatever you want to call it, on this list, but yeah, that car is really expensive. It would have been the most powerful car on the list, which would have put it at number 1, but that car is too expensive. Maybe on another list it could go, but not this one. The Scat Pack is actually good enough. It's good enough to be its own super crazy car. The fact that the Hellcat is just way more insane is insane in itself, but that's besides the point. The Scat Pack has 485 horsepower, 475 pound-foot of torque, and has a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds and a top speed of 187 miles per hour, which is pretty fast for a super sedan, and that's why it's on today's list. The Scat Pack comes with some pretty decent racing seats, good bolstering, and Alcantara, but I prefer the leather seats of the Hellcat. It's just, I'm a leather guy, but for a sports car, maybe the Alcantara is a little bit better for the grip, and you don't really have to worry about it wearing out and getting all gross and ugly looking from all the use. My only real complaint about the car is the actual design. I never liked, but you don't get into a super sedan because of the looks. You get into it because of the power and the speed, and the fact that it might look like a sleeper for those people that don't know. For the car people that do know, they know this thing is an animal, and that's why it's on today's list. And at number 3, we have the Cadillac CTSV, and of course I'm talking that second generation CTSV. The CTSV might be the fastest car on today's list, with a 0 to 60 time of 3.9 seconds, and that is insanely fast. That is supercar speeds. And with 556 horsepower and 551 pound-foot of torque coming out of a LS Corvette engine, is not hard to see why this car has that much power and speed. I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna lie, I love this generation of the CTS. I always wanted one, and at this point I could afford it, but those cars will beat the hell. The interiors are out of date, And you know, the car has not been kept to the best condition, and it also has that crappy North Star engine. But the CTSV, on the other hand, is totally different. This car's held its value extremely well. The ones with the Recaro seats look amazing as well. The seats still hold up. Alcantara still hold up. Everything else is outdated, but you don't really care for the touch screens that are in the current, you know, Cadillacs. They're terrible. And you get the power and the drivability, and that's what you really care about. This car is amazing, and that's why it's on today's list. Number 2, we have the Mercedes-AMG E63 W212 pre-facelift. And man, that was a whole lot of words to get out of the name for an AMG. And this car makes about 525 horsepower, 525 pound-foot of torque. It really depends on which package the car was, you know, built with and what year it was made. But yeah, it has a 0 to 60 time of 4.2 seconds, so it's probably the second or third fastest car on today's list, for right now, that is. And as far as I know, this car is pretty bulletproof. Your daddy Doug DeMiro has the wagon version of this car, and your uncle Tyler Hoover has the wagon version of the older car. And you've seen how that car has been acting with his ownership, but he likes buying crazy out of whack junk cars. So you know, that's his thing, and that's what's going on with that thing. Hopefully this car doesn't have similar issues. I really don't know, but I do know that AMG really can't be beat. They're known for their engineering, brute force, and straight line speed, and this car is no different, even though it is a big, heavy sedan. My only gripe with this car is the infotainment, the dash area, the part of the car you gotta look at as the driver isn't really new. It's out of date, but the interior all around is immaculate. It's amazing. It still looks pretty modern, still looks pretty good, and it's an excellent car all around. And number 1, we have the BMW M5 F10. This M5 has 553 horsepower, 502 pound-foot of torque, and has a 0 to 60 time of 4.4 seconds. To me, this is one of the best looking M cars ever created. It's far better looking than the generation before it, and before BMW started getting crazy with the grille sizes. And I don't believe these cars have the same Vanos problem as the last few generations, where the car would just straight up blow up, grenade when you got to a certain point. You didn't know when it was going to happen, you just knew it would happen, and if you didn't take the proper procedures to fix it, then you were basically screwed. I don't know if this car has that issue, but you know, as they say, all cars have issues. You know, it's just depending on when they're gonna happen and how much it's gonna cost you. But if you don't care about that type of stuff, you just want that super sedan that is an everyday driver's car, a joy to drive, then this car is that car for you. So that's gonna bring this list to a close. Tell me how you feel about these super sedans. Do you think there are other cars I could have put on this list? What are they? Which ones did you pick? What would you put at number 1? What would you put as your sleeper or honorable mentions? Because I really don't do those. They, you know, take a lot of time. They draw out the video, whatever. I'm not really into doing all that. I'm trying to get to the point. So if you like this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to subscribe. It would really help the channel out. I'm trying to build this channel up. I say this all the time, and I really need you guys to help me. And with that said, I like to bring this video to a close. So if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot in store for this channel. Really want you guys to be there with me. And with that said, I'll catch you next time.